Welcome to our podcast, I Will Be Your Voice, Stories of Homelessness and Hope. I am your host, Melissa Turnpaw, Youth Development Coordinator with the Center for Schools and Communities. I want to welcome Maryama LeBron to the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Melissa.
No problem. So just a little backstory for our listeners. Maryama and I met back in 2018, 2019. It would have been 2020, I believe. It was right when COVID pandemic. So we actually got to work together on some life skills and goals when I was a life skills counselor at Valley Youth House in Harrisburg. And Maryama had the opportunity to participate in our Transitional Living Program. So I'm excited to have her here today just to talk about her journey in that program, kind of what things that she learned and where she is today. So Maryama, we'll go ahead and get started. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to be with us today. We thought it'd be super impactful to have a former homeless youth share their experiences and story with us in hopes to raise awareness about youth homelessness. So can we start from the beginning? Can you tell our listeners where you were born and raised, how you came to America, and what transitioned you into homelessness?
Hi, my name is Maryama. I'm really happy to be invited here to share my story, and I can't wait to share my journey with you guys. I was born and raised in Africa, but I come here when I was 14. I come here with my little brother, and I went to high school and middle school here.
What brought you to America?
But honestly, we come here just to live because my dad lives here.
Okay, awesome. And then you were with your dad and your brother, and then you kind of transitioned into homelessness. So how did you share about, how did you end up finding out about Valley Youth House?
So when I was in high school, I have issue with my family. So due to a family situation, I can no longer live with my family. So when I was in high school, my counselor helped me look for a program. At the time, I was in YWCA for a women's shelter, but it's not really helping me that much because I still need to get to school. I was at my last year, which is senior year. So I was really struggling getting to school in the morning, and they tried finding me a program that helped me.
So can you explain just about the transition into the program with Valley Youth House? I know that you said that your counselor told you about it. Was it a quick turnaround that you got in? Kind of just give some details on how you...
So when I was in women's shelter, at the time it was very hard getting to the school. Because it was so hard getting to the school and I need to finish the school, it was very important. My counselor put me in contact with a social worker in the school. So she called me in her office. I explained my home living situation to her and how I end up in Y. So me and her sit and she looked for a program for me that is way better than Y, which is Thrive Housing. And it was really an amazing experience for me. So I end up doing everything at the Y with the social worker and the people at the Y. She got in contact with the Thrive Housing. They come to the school, interview me, ask questions, and everything I needed to start the program. And that's how I got into the program.
Yeah, so some of our listeners may not know what Thrive Housing is. So Valley Youth House, Transitional Living Program, and some of the other programs at the Harrisburg office worked with a program called Thrive Housing that worked with us to house our youth that were in programs. So when Maryama describes about Thrive Housing, that is where she ended up going for a household living situation while she was in our program. So can you kind of actually tell our listeners about that living situation, like that you lived in a house, etc.?
So how it work is a house that have a couple rooms, and we all have our own room, but we share the kitchen space and the living room space, but everybody have their own room. So you start paying $50 a month, and then it goes up to 500. But all the money are being saved until you're ready to leave the program. While you're there, they offer you some help with anything you need help with. Cooking classes, they offer you cooking classes, and they offer you a lot of things, honestly, to help with your everyday life and to help you just in everywhere you need help with. Like, they give you a grocery car and a gas car, and yeah, so many other things.
Yeah. So when you were in that household, so the first 3 months, you didn't have to pay any rent, which was nice. And then we would build up in increments. So Maryama said about how it started at 50 and then it ended by the time she was going into her last few months of the program, it was stagnant at like $500. But during that time, did you have to pay rent as well besides just the program putting money into it?
Yes.
So the money that you had to pay each month was helping you to budget, know what it's like to pay rent. But at the end of all of that, the money that you actually contributed, you were able to walk away with in hopes that you'd put it on a down payment, on an apartment or on a car, etc.
Yes.
Awesome. And so, during your time in the Transitional Living Program, so again, it was an 18-month program, what do you think was the most impactful or beneficial thing for you?
For me is how the workers over there, they really, really care for you and they care about your growth. For me, the cooking class was really everything for me because I always look forward to it. I love cooking, so to learn how to cook other food other than what you originally know is very helpful. And the way they care about you, show you that they want you to succeed, that itself encourages you a lot.
Yeah, so these cooking classes that Maryama was talking about, we used to do them every other week. So I actually ran those over Zoom so that all of our youth could participate no matter where they were located. But during that time, they got to kind of choose different recipes they wanted to learn. I'd go shopping, make those kits, drop them off at their house, and then we'd all hop on Zoom, just have a good time cooking and making different meals. So Maryama, what would you say your favorite meal was that you made during your time?
I would say the Chinese fried rice. That is my favorite. I still cook it to this day because of that.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. And so those programs not only helped you with your life skills, but also attending, you got paid to go to each of those, which was another great way for our youth to earn more income because while they're in the program, they do have to hold a job and have to be able to budget. And we work on that with them. So when you were in TL program, how do you think some of the programs have shaped you to where you are now?
It shapes me a lot because it allows me to know that there is people who actually cares for me and want to see me succeed. And there's people that are actually willing to help you no matter your situation, and you don't have to really do anything. They're just there to help you and you don't have to repay for nothing.
Yeah, so
it's just a program that is there to help whoever needed the help for because they won't see everybody's success.
Yeah, so after your 18 months, or I should say when your 18 months of the program were approaching and graduation was coming, did you feel you were prepared and ready to be out on your own?
Yes.
And why was that?
Number one, I already know how to pay the bills. By them making me like start with $50 and going up, it helped me know how to pay my rent on time, and it helped me with the responsibility of paying a rent. So that prepared me to have my own place. And while I was there, I have a couple bills, so that also helped me know how to take care of myself because I was on my own at the time.
That's awesome. So once you did graduate, can you tell our listeners what was next for you? What like your living situation was, your career field? Did you do schooling?
So I graduated high school, and at the time I got 2-bedroom. I was living and taking care of my little brother, he was still in high school, and I just graduated, and I lived with him for a couple of years until I started living on my own.
And then, so what are you doing now as far as your career?
After graduating high school, I went into a program. It's a CNA program. I paid and took some classes at DC Tech for a couple of months, and I got my certificate in is nurse assistant, which is CNA. And now I'm working in healthcare field, and I've been working in healthcare field for like 4 years now.
Yeah, I was going to say, you started that when you were in the program with us and have continued with it. You really found your passion there. So what other goals do you have now that you're out of the program? You've been given assistance to move forward in life. You've been graduated for the program for quite some time. What do you see in your future?
Honestly, I see a lot for my future. That I see that I have a big future, and I can only thank the program for helping me make it right now to this day. I have a lot of plans for my future. It doesn't just end now. It just continue for me.
Awesome. Yeah. Super proud of you and the work that you put in during those programs and continue. You have just been such a great success story. So if you could give any words of wisdom or advice to a youth who is experiencing homelessness like you did, what would you say and how would you encourage them?
I would tell you to keep going no matter how hard it gets, and it feel like nobody know how you feel. There is people who actually care about you, and don't give up, because it's gonna get really hard and it's gonna feel like it doesn't matter anymore. But the more you keep pushing, the more you keep going, the end of it is going to be everything you ever dream of.
That's awesome. Thank you. So with that message, we are going to close our episode of I Will Be Your Voice, Stories of Homelessness and Hope. Thank you, Maryama, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So to learn more about the Valley Youth House Transitional Living Program, you can go to valleyyouthhouse.org to their programs page and look for their Transitional Living Program. Thank you for listening to I Will Be Your Voice, Stories of Homelessness and Hope. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please check back and tune in again.